Hey guys, welcome to a new episode of Renew. I'm Rohani. Everything happens for a reason and for the best reason possible. I can't even tell you the number of times I have experienced something in my life. I have been rejected. I have from jobs, okay, rejected in like dating, rejected in friendships, okay, all of that. And down the line, I realized that that was the best thing that could have happened to me because I had something so much better in store for me, or it was a lesson and a teaching for me to learn from. And at that moment, of course, it's really hard to get that clarity and to realize that. I'll tell you, the first interview that I ever gave, right? I think it was like an e commerce platform. I think I had probably just finished like my 12th grade. So I wasn't really equipped to know fashion. I go up there, and this one person who's like kind of famous now, he's taking the interview and he asks me questions, etc. So for my CV, I did not have any experience. So I just printed some random things on Word, and he just looks at that and he's like, that is so unprofessional. He basically just like was a little rude about the fact that the fonts were not right. And that is like, that's way too basic for a fashion job. Okay, I know it's supposed to look formal and professional for like other fields, but for fashion, that's boring. And I can't even tell you how just like his tone and the way he spoke to me made me feel like I do not belong here and I don't have what it takes to be in fashion. I was so embarrassed and I was so overwhelmed by that experience that I came home. I was bawling my eyes out and I was like, this is not for me. I don't know why this happened. Like, I can't do this. I don't have what it takes, blah, blah, blah. I just felt so unqualified for this cut. That meant a lot to me. And that always happens actually. Whenever I start something new, I fail and I feel like really bad about it, maybe for like a few hours. But then I have like this weird awakening where I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna make it happen. I'm gonna do it. And that was so powerful because I was like, no, I am gonna like do something. And then I ended up studying fashion styling and I worked so much in the industry and now I'm a fashion girly. It's just crazy. And I'll tell you, so the first time I was auditioning for this ad during lockdown, and it was for Airtel. And I'd gone to that casting place, and it was a group ad, so there were other people with me. And like the lines were fairly easy, but due to the experience of auditioning in public with other people involved, and we had to improvise. So I was getting really conscious about like, what will I say if I'm, saying it right, all of that. And I bombed. I was horrible. I again like started crying and I was like, no, like this is not for me. This is not gonna happen. Literally a week later, I closed another Airtel ad. And like sadly it never came out because of like lockdown, because I could not go for dubbing and like COVID. But literally like the same brand, like what are the odds of that happening? The biggest thing is you cannot give up the first time it's happening. The second thing is to feel the emotions, okay? Crying about it, I think is all right as long as you have that calling and you're like, you know what, no, I can do this. I'm going to try again. That's it. Like the only time you fail is when you quit. Otherwise, how will you fail if you keep trying? You are going to make it. Like that's inevitable. But all these bad things, right? Every time it happened, I was so bummed about it and I was almost depressed. And then later I realized that everything's happening in my best interest. Literally everything. The secret to happiness is to focus on the controllables. What you do not control, you have to let go. And it's not only about letting go what you do not control, but it's also having the wisdom to realize what is actually in your control and what is not in your control. I know somebody, he's a trader, okay, and he invests in stocks, etc. And he was telling me the story about how he wanted to invest in Bitcoin, and looking at the pattern, he knew that the next time it's going to fall, he wanted to reinvest in it, okay, because it's going to rise up after some time. Oh my god, my stock lingo is so weak. He told everybody around him, his parents, that when it falls, he's going to be tempted to not buy it, but they need to push him to buy it, even though the price is dropping, because he is certain it's going to rise and he's going to earn like a lot of money because of it. So what happened is he bought those stocks, etc. Then it fell again. He didn't want to buy. And his family also, like the people he told to like tell him to push him to buy, they said don't buy. And then he did not end up buying it. And then the stocks, rose. And it's like one of the biggest regrets of his life because he would be like a millionaire, I am assuming, if he would have like gone through with it. But the point is that he still takes all accountability for his mistake of not doing it, because buying those stocks was in his control, even though he told everybody around him to, push him to buy it, because it's hard to buy something that's falling, right? But he still takes complete accountability and responsibility for the fact that it is his fault because he did not buy it. And I realized that it is so easy to blame others for the things that we can actually change. And sometimes for things that we cannot change, we need to like let go of those changes. Let me read something for you which really resonated with me. The chief task in life is simply this: to identify and separate matters so that I can see clearly to myself which are externals not under my control and which have to do with the choices I actually control. Where then do I look for good and evil? Not to uncontrollable externals, but within myself to the choices that are my own. I feel like everything happens for a reason. Also, it's happening in the best reason. And I do not believe in coincidences. I don't think coincidences is a thing. Think about it. Whenever you break up with someone, right, you will stop seeing them around most of the time. I feel like this always happens with me. If I end up like separating from like a partner, I will never bump into them. It's a sign that we're not supposed to be in each other's lives. And even though obviously we're consciously also probably attempting to not end up meeting each other, it never happens by default either because it's not meant to be. And that's a sign from the universe and God. And I've started really believing in signs and things, and also just accepting everything, like the present moment as it is. The number one reason why we are upset with our reality is because we are not in complete acceptance of what is happening in this moment. We want something different all the time, which is why we cannot accept this is perfect. This me in the car right now, it could not have been better. And forget better. It's not about even good and bad. It's just about this is it. Like no judgment. I don't have to judge it. I don't have to justify it, right? It just is, and I'm in alignment with it, and I accept it completely. This is so powerful because, first of all, the present is the only space where you can ever be. Like, where else could you be? Not wanting to be in the present creates so much turmoil inside of you, okay? Because you always want something else, want something more, want something in the past. For example, you like a boy, he does not text you back, whatever. Amazing. Like, it is what it is, and just accept it. Do not fight it internally. Do not think of the things that you could do to make it happen. No, it's just not meant to be. Simple. That honestly, like that detached mindset is so attractive because it is very magnetic. It will just pull through all your manifestations if you're truly genuinely detached. And I feel like this works for me every time. If I ever feel like I'm too into somebody and then I don't see that kind of like reciprocation, first of all, it's a really big ick for me if they're not obsessed with me. Like, what the fuck does that mean that you're not obsessed with me? So that by itself is like a turn off for me. Then I just like naturally like let go because it just makes me realize that wait, like no, I was wrong about this and we're not supposed to be together, and that's okay. We can be friends if I want to be, or we can just go back to being strangers. Like, it's not that deep. I will find somebody else and I'll attract the right person when it is the right time. A commonly used example in the spiritual realm is that if you're waiting in traffic or if you're waiting in a queue and you're like, there's so much traffic, this, that, you're just releasing negative energy and you're self-sabotaging by allowing and indulging in that mind chatter and thoughts, when instead you could simply just be like, okay, I have to wait. How can I make the most of it? Okay, and this is all right. Like, just accept the moment. This is it. This is good. This is the best. That's it. And a lot of people think that maybe if you do that, you will stop chasing and you will lose purpose and drive in life, but that's not true at all because you create so much peace and joy and gratitude for whatever you have in this moment that that energy becomes momentum into you working for your goals and your drive. And I feel like everything, it's happening for a reason, and it's a sign from God to act. Like, for example, sometimes you're looking for an answer to a problem that you have in your mind, and you just read something, you open a book, and the first line that you read is the solution to your problem, but you just needed that perspective change. But if you're not open to receiving from the universe, how will you receive it? How will you get your answers? So sometimes all it takes is just to like breathe, step back, and the universe will come through for you. It always fucking does. I believe in energy so strongly. I think everything is happening for a reason. It's happening in your best interest, whether you realize it or not. Like every heartbreak in the present moment, it's the most soul crushing, soul defeating thing that could have ever happened. And heartbreaks are so powerful, but they happen so that you could learn whatever you had to learn and for your glow up. And I don't even mean a physical glow up, transformational power that a heartbreak holds. I feel like it's unparalleled. Like nothing can make you move like the loss of someone in your life. It can be so transformative for your self growth, for your self care journey, for your self love, So those were the things that you had to learn, and that's why you went through it. And I feel like it's not a bad thing. Everybody is not supposed to be forever in your life. They're there to teach you something, and it's just you're part of your life. Like your life, you're the main character in movie. So all these other people are just like the side characters. They're not supposed to be the protagonist. Only you're the protagonist in your film. It's a one man show, okay? And all the other people are like supporting characters. They come through and then they go. Like probably they're just for act one. Probably they are supposed to come only in the third act. Whatever it is, maybe just a song cameo. Okay, whatever it might be, they were there to just teach you something or for the experience of it that you had to learn and that you attracted into your life. And I think that's beautiful. Focusing on the controllables, having patience. I feel like because of social media and instant gratification in literally all forms, like if you want to find a partner, if you want validation, you can just download a dating app, you can swipe. It is so easy. If you want food, okay, if you have the food void that you need to fill, you can order, it'll be there in 15 minutes. You can Zepto, Swiggy, it'll literally be there in 10 minutes. You don't even have to get out of your house, which is something I feel like I'm going to change. I'm going to stop Zeptoing things. If I want something, I'm going to go down and buy it. I want to be where the sun's at. If I have the privilege to live in a country where I'm blessed with so much sun, because I'll tell you what, my sister, she's studying in London, right? And the sun sets really early in the winter season there. So it sets by like 4 p.m. Like her student lifestyle, she must be seeing sun maybe for like an hour every day, considering she sleeps late or whatever. And it's horrible because this is why you get depressed. Like you need sun exposure. That I just went on a different tangent there, but I'm so passionate about doing all the things that you naturally can to support your body, to help it work in its most optimum way. If we want something, we want it immediately. Good things take time. It's not supposed to be like manifestations, but you need to be patient. You need to trust that it's going to happen. No questions asked. Whatever you want, whatever you desire is going to happen. And once you know it's going to happen, then you stop like thinking about it all the time because you're detached. Your favorite toy, okay, as a child, if you have it already, you're not going to think about it. But only when somebody else takes it, you think about it and you're like, no, I want it. If it's already yours, then you're at peace. You're playing with it. You're playing with other toys. You're going to school. You're doing whatever the fuck you want because in your head, you already have it. So it's the same thing. When you believe that you already have it, whatever your goal, your purpose is in life, and it's going to come to you, of course, you have to take action towards it. You have to constantly reassess your strategy. You have to learn. You have to risk failing. And you have to fail multiple times. Like that's all a part of it. But then eventually it will come to you because it's meant for you. Like why else would you want it? Why else would you want to attract something? Why would you feel that attraction if it's not meant?